Okay, so what I want to demonstrate in this video is how to assess the thumb. Now, people have often make all sorts of ideas about the thumb, and because they're not quite assessing how to look at its strengths. And the first thing to really need to look at is the length of the thumb, and the width of the thumb, and also the flexibility of the thumb. And these can only be seen from the live hand. And so if you're taking handprints, you need to actually make the notes about the thumb from your observations of the thumb and then write them down on the handprint piece of paper. So the first thing to do is to look at the length of the thumb, and the way to do that is to take the thumb and hold it up against the side. Don't kind of put it in front of the thumb of the hand, don't put it behind, get it right on the side and kind of stretch it out as best as you can against the side of the palm like that. And you should find that the top of the thumb should come up to about halfway up that phalange, that's the bottom section of the index finger, should come up to about halfway up that phalange. If it comes up to halfway up that phalange, it's an average length thumb, and there's nothing more that needs to be said to that. If it's low down there, if it's short, then obviously that's a short thumb, and if it's longer than that, then obviously it's a long thumb. Most of the time, most people's thumbs are average length, and so there's not actually much to say about the length of the thumb. But it is noteworthy if it is particularly long, and you'll notice it when it is. And it's very rare that you'll find a short thumb, and the short thumbs are only really found in people with things like Down syndrome and mental handicap. So it's relatively rare to see those, except in particular populations. The only exceptions to that, sometimes you find that the thumb is quite low set in the palm, sort of starting out down here. And if it's low set but still and doesn't quite reach up to that point, that's obviously quite a different kind of indication. It's still a fully lit thumb. It's just the setting is low in the palm, and obviously some people will have that. But again, not that common to see a low set thumb, but do check the thumb. Most of the time, the thumb is average set and average length, in which case there's not much to say about it, so sort of move on from that. The next thing to look at is the flexibility of the thumb, and the flexibility of the thumb can only really be seen by actually flexing the thumb itself. So the way to do that is to take the thumb, put your index finger of the other hand on the thumb, and then bend it at the joint. So bend it at the top joint to see how much mobility there is in that top joint. You can see that I've only got a little bit of flexibility in my top phalange, but you can see also if it just arcs back like that, or if it's stiffly staying completely firm in that kind of way. So just press against the thumb in that way, just to kind of get the arc of the thumb pulling backwards to see how much it actually bends. And then the second thing to do is from there is to actually push in that direction and see how much mobility there is in the lower joint of the thumb. Now, some people have very lax joints, and when you press that against them, the kind of joint goes boink and sort of pushes right in like it's double jointed. So we sometimes call it the double jointed thumb. Sometimes they call it a wibbly wobbly thumb because the joint's so loose, it's kind of completely almost like it's disjointed. And again, when you come across that, it becomes quite obvious what that is. So you need to know the flexibility of the thumb at each of the phalanges, at the top joint and at the lower joint, because it means something slightly different depending on where that flexibility is. And the third thing to look at in a thumb, of course, is the angle of confidence, or the angle at which it departs from the palm. But you'll see that by placing the palm on a piece of paper. When you're taking the handprint, just relax the hand, place the hand down, and however the thumb lands, that is the angle at which it departs from the hand. So that's about a 45-degree angle. And again, that's normal from about 45 degrees. Some people's thumb will be very held in like that. Look at that's a very narrow angled thumb. That's a shy and introverted person. Or some people's thumbs may be really widely set out, like at sort of 90 degrees. Most people with low set thumbs have their angle out very wide because of the positioning of the thumb on the hand. But again, most people are somewhere average. So when you're taking the handprint, just get them to relax the hand and place the hand down naturally on the surface without spreading it out and not putting it down too floppily either. So those are the three things that you need to look at when you're looking at a thumb, and that's what you need to assess: the length of the thumb, the flexibility of the thumb, and the thumb position. And while you're looking at the length of the thumb, also good to look at the width of the thumb, how wide the top phalange is, how wide the bottom phalange is. Is it a thick thumb or is it a thin thumb? That'll tell you something about their willpower as well. So, and all those things need to be looked at from the hand, from the live hand, because they can't be seen from the print. The angle of opening can be seen from the print, but not the other three things. So make a note of those and then write them down on the handprint itself, so you've got that annotated and for future reference. So even if you haven't got the live hand there, you know what the thumb is like. All right, and those are my tips for assessing the thumb. And part of your initial observations of someone's hands, you've got to get all these details down. All right.